but we're alive. And I feel like in both of these, like the last two situations, like in the last with the X Factor, like she does not have, she can't cope with life. Like her response is to shut down and be sad. That's not coping. That's being sad. Like understanding that like life is going to be difficult and finding a way to be like, this is what it is. I need to learn how to deal with this so that it doesn't affect the other aspects of my life. Because when you let something bother you to the point where you can't do things, or your outward emotional represent, like the outward, the emotional representation that you throw out there to the world is that of sad bitch, like you aren't coping. You're just broadcasting your sadness to the world, like almost in like it. Because in when people who do that, and she's included, when people do that and then people don't acknowledge it and then try to like get them to open up or try to like make it better, they feel worse. Like that whole, well, of course, like yeah, I know it's always my fault. It's always on me. It ain't never nobody else's fault. Like, here's the thing, kiddo. Sometimes it is you. Because when you're having problems across the board, if you're having issues with a multitude of different people, you're the common denominator. You're the problem. You're the one with the issue, not everybody else. Because like the idea, because I will say like I don't like I know there are people out there who feel like, well, like a good relationship to them is somebody who gets them and lets them be them. And I feel like that's not necessarily healthy. You don't always need somebody who, like if you're a drunk, you don't need somebody who lets you be a drunk. You need somebody who like wants you to not die. That's a healthy relationship. Like drug addicts shouldn't date. You know what I mean? Like people who are
Yeah.
just gonna basically sit there and allow you to slowly kill yourself, they are not helping. People who are allowing you to not grow up and learn how to be an adult, a good adult, one who can like tackle a problem head on, might not come out completely intact, but you came out. Like you found a way to solve it and you fixed it. And matter of fact, you won't have that problem again in the future. You adulted the fuck out of it. It's like to use these stupid ass millennial terms. You adulted. You found a way to fix your issue. And you did so without playing the poor me card. And like no one came like to your rescue. You rescued your goddamn self. I'm not saying it's always going to be that way. There are going to be situations in which you cannot win. And if that's the case, if you can't win, why be sad about it? Like, take it on the chin like a champion and just be done. Like, that's it. Like, if you get robbed and there's no way that you can recover your shit, then it's over. Be mad about it, sure. Mad is is natural to me. Like being mad makes sense, but you can't be mad forever. Like, and you can't blame the world for this thing happening to you because one, it's not happening to just you. The entirety of the planet is gonna have this issue. Like, it just is what it is. Like, if you have a friend die, like it's gonna suck, yeah. But you're not gonna be the only person on the planet who has a friend die. Like, you're not the only person who knew that person. Like, it sucks, and you have to learn how to cope. You know, need to learn how to deal with the emotions that you're feeling, get through the situation, and then get over and live outside of it. Like, it doesn't mean you forget what you went through. It just means that you learned how to live a new version of life. One where these things happen, or one that doesn't have this person in it, or any combination of shitty things. But you learn how to live in the new world that has been created. And I'm just kind of like now realizing there's a lot of people, like not necessarily younger people, but adults who don't know how to do that, who don't know how to fucking cope. Because suicide shouldn't be like your go-to route under any circumstance. Like, you shouldn't be looking to people to just basically let you be a baby about everything, or looking like you don't need somebody else to tell you you did a good job. Like I understand, like that's what daddy issues are, is you never had somebody in your life to tell you that you were good enough. But the idea that that's what you're out there looking for, you become dependent on that person for your self worth, and that's not healthy. Because all I can think is like you're gonna find somebody who knows that's what you need, and they're gonna use that to control you, and then you're gonna be stuck because they're gonna get you in this loop of breaking you down and then building you back up, and you're gonna feel like you need them because when they're not doing the thing you want them to do, you feel at your lowest. But when they're being the good version of themselves, you feel great, and it's like literally like the human form of manic depression. It's like it's good then bad then good then bad then good then bad. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I'm tired.
I'm not much better.
But yeah, like that's just it, man. Like it's just that because I want, you know, what I'm saying, I want people to be good out there. I want people to live and be happy and stuff. But
I mean, I will agree that sometimes people need a little harshness to understand that, when I say this, I mean, kindness
go so
isn't
far.
always a good. Like, you can kill someone with kindness, and this is what I mean by this is if you were too kind to them, that they become complacent in their situation and don't want to become. And this is the thing, people don't necessarily always need to change, but sometimes you do need to become a better version of you.
Because I feel like that's kind of where, like, the asshole who doesn't want to change, who hears this, that's what they're hearing. Oh, so I have to be the one to be different. Like, no. Like, well, yeah. Because you're the one living your life. Like, how conceited can you possibly fucking be to think that because you're unhappy with the way things are, the entire world around you should change? How stupid can you be to think that that's what's going to happen? That's never going to happen. No one's ever going to change for the sake of you. Like, straight up. Like the chick I've been talking to on Kick who doesn't really get the world yet. And she was on this, like, she was like, I don't understand, like, people always just leave me. Like, and it's like, and basically, I forget what it was, but when it came down to it, I basically told her, it's because you're not great, like, all the time. Like I think what I said was that you're not special, but I didn't say you weren't special. But I think, like, what it came down to is, like, she doesn't understand, like, well, I meet someone and, like, it seems like everything's going good, but then they stop talking to me. And then I was like, well, yeah, people aren't going to always like you. Like, you're not the greatest thing ever. Period. You liked them, that doesn't mean they liked you. It's like, well, that's harsh. Like, but it's the reality. Like, if a bitch is like, you might like, I might like a bitch, but you know, she don't like fat niggas. She don't like fat niggas. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? It ain't no like, well, that's rude. Like, no, it's not rude. She has the right to her preference. I got the right to mine. That's it. Period. If they don't like people who like kind of get upset, like, well, they didn't hire me because I'm a minority. It's like, you know, you're gonna do a thing about it. Like, look, I'm gonna be real with you. I understand that's not fair, but do you want to work for a place that doesn't want people of your color working there? Like, let that place be for the bigots, because it's never gonna be okay for people like you to work there. And if you go out of your way to piss people off, like, unless the entirety of the management changes, there's going to be somebody somewhere who has the same mentality of the person that didn't hire you to begin with. You're not going to want that. So, no, the world doesn't change for you specifically. Like, sometimes you just got to suck it up and be like, all right, well, you know, that didn't work out. And you move on. But I will say, like, I am at fault. Because it is often that in these situations, I am the one who I am the one who knocks. I I constantly baby hurt both of these women, like all three of them, all three women in question. Like I baby all three of them. Like I try to make them feel better about the shitty situation they're in, and I think that because that's what they want. They want to be made to feel better, and they're looking for an outside source of happiness instead of being able to find it like within. And it's like, but that's hard. So most things are. Most things that come easy ain't really worth having. Like what Hobson say? Living's naturally hell. You got to work to put a smile on.
I will say another thing that a lot of people have issues with is they love to focus on the things they don't have or the things that like aren't as good when you could spend just as much time focusing on the things you do have and what's good about those things. I'm not saying like ignore everything that's bad or anything, no. But
No, this what was it? It's like I said like a while back. Negativity means more to people than anything else. Like, if please don't take this advice out of context. It's not advice. It's just a true statement. If you want to be famous in America, don't do anything good. Do something horrific. If you want to go down in the history books, if you want to be remembered, do something horrible. Because some of the like right along people like Gandhi and Martin Luther King are people like Charles Manson and Hitler. People don't remember the positive as well as they remember the negative. Like, do you remember?
I will say that much. Like America does glorify its serial killers quite a lot.
Yeah, like, do you remember the guy who won? Matter of fact, do you remember what happened at the last Boston Marathon? Do you know what day it's run? Do you know what city? Like, do you know where in what street in Boston it's run on? No, you don't. But I'm sure you remember the pressure cooker bomb. I'm sure you remember that. The like once very small detail of that situation because it was terrible. So you remember that. Like, I'm pretty sure you like. Do you know the name of the guy who invented penicillin? But you know the name of the DC snipers.
Mm-hmm.
John Allen Muhammad and John Malvo. See? Like, that's kind of like what I'm getting at. Is like, that's how people are in general. Like, you can do something great for somebody for a year straight, and the day that you aren't there for them is all they're gonna ever remember. Like, the X Factor is definitely guilty of that. It doesn't matter how often I'm like it doesn't matter how often I have her back. It's the moments when I'm not saying what she needs to hear or wants to hear that she will only like focus on. And like, it's harder, like, and I'm sure that she doesn't realize, like, when you do that, like, you're dwindling that reserve I have of like that helps me put up with your shit. It's like the slightest.
You weren't there when they really, really needed you.
Right. Yeah. So I got, hey, but this video is like 18 minutes at this point. But it was a question because that was my weekend. Like, and I will say this because I know she will never see it. I'm not necessarily worried about the X Factor like moving on because I've seen what happens to her life when I'm not in it, and it's more beneficial for her for me to be here than it is for me to be here. It was like her like that train hit a wall and no one survived. So like that's you don't know the whole story. With me not in her life, it got fucked fast. As far as the pet goes, like, she can get a dick. Like, she's gonna always be the motherfucker she is. Because if you don't, like, she's like this with everybody. If you disagree with what she believes, you're stupid. And you're wrong, and you don't know anything, and you're ignorant, and, like, all this other fuck shit. Which is why she's only known as a whole haver. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Good night.